Hello and welcome to Do the Right Thing, your weekly writing prompt podcast. I'm Alexandra.
And I'm Jarvis.
Jarvis and I were aspiring writers with one simple common problem. We never actually took the time to sit down and write.
Exactly. So to cure this issue, we are issuing a challenge. Each week you sit down and write a complete short story using 3 or 4 randomly generated words.
Then when you come on the podcast, we read a story, we talk about what we learned in writing it and reading it. Then we come on the podcast, we read a story, we talk about what we learned in reading it, and then we talk about the rest of the story sent in by you wonderful listeners.
Exactly. We're simply here to help you do the right thing.
A Doof Media Production. How's it going?
Hey,
It's
going pretty good.
Week 2 of being in the Big Apple, that really huge apple.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the gigantic apple filled with worms. How is it?
Yeah, those the seeds are filled with cyanide. So, you know how that is. Yeah, I had a date tell me how if you eat all of the seeds in an apple, you'll die from the cyanide poisoning. I don't know how true that is.
Well, that's a lie.
Yeah.
That's an actual lie.
I don't know.
Because I don't know if I told you, but I used to eat apples whole. Yeah. So I've eaten plenty of apple seeds.
And you didn't die once,
is
what you're telling me.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
Or at least not because of the apples.
Yeah, no, probably because of my insane heroin use.
You're just crazy lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. My crazy, kooky lifestyle, like an orgy every night, bro.
Every night, bro.
Every night, bro.
Yeah, speaking of orgies every night.
But, yeah.
I do want to preface this episode.
A party?
That my downstairs neighbor and my other surrounding living people, have been getting very busy recently, and so if you hear stuff in the background,
busy doing what?
Copulating.
Copulating.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna say it.
Fornicating.
I don't know. They just, it seems like someone's in pain and the walls are shaking. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, the point is, if you hear something in the background, I sincerely apologize, and I'm doing stuff so that I won't, that shouldn't happen so much in the future.
I think I just heard something.
You might have
in the background. Yeah, it was like
Was it? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just hopeful.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I'm just listening so hard.
Don't laugh at that.
Okay.
That was bad. It's stupid.
I am a child at heart. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Okay.
But beyond the fornicating neighbors and the wild, crazy party lifestyle you live every single last day.
Yep.
Is New York also cold right now?
Oh, it's fucking freezing. I'm like, I just don't go outside anymore. It's really bad, actually. I really need to just get in the habit. It hasn't been too bad the last couple days because it was like in the 40s. But like last night, I wanted to have a dramatic moment, get on my roof, bring my poetry book with me, write some poetry, maybe drink a little bit. But it was so fucking windy that my pen wouldn't work. Or so fucking windy and cold that my pen wouldn't work. It just like...
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. It was just all gray. You can like literally very much see the difference between the stuff I wrote outside and inside. So,
and it's yeah, which is crazy because it's also like wicked windy here too. I remember last night, which is something I haven't really heard that often, but like the shackles on our roof and like the like doors to our windows were just slamming all night because the wind was going so hard in the paint. Only for me to like wake up today, and my phone says that it's 25, but I have this thing where it's called real feel where it also like puts in the sun and the wind and then all that, and it's like 6 degrees here.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I absolutely hate it. It sucks because I do love.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, really, really bad. Which is make me worrying because like I don't know if the freeze is gonna happen soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because the freeze is supposed to be worse than last year,
Oh my
and
god.
last year it was pretty fucking bad.
Yeah. 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 We haven't done anything to
Yeah.
fix any of the problems. We're talking about the freezing that, left
Happened
most
in
of Texas without power for a week. During
Yes, a whole week
a really,
without
really cold
power.
time. Yeah.
And I have chicken in the fridge, so if that happens, I'm definitely gonna go hungry.
You're gonna eat a lot of chicken in one night. That's what you gotta do. You gotta eat it while you can and put on that winter, hibernation weight so you can
do like a winter fat.
Yeah.
But speaking about reading, real quick.
Yeah, we can we can read the this week's story. Would you like to introduce?
Yeah. No.
Okay. So we're reading.
So this week's story is by Morgan Le. Great name, thank you. And this is a new writer, so thank you so much for submitting your story. And you submitted a untitled story that we are extremely excited to get into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's just jump in. This is a story by Morgan Le. Muted music rolled over his whole body as if he were underwater. Dull bass booms cycling through his bones, kick drums thudding in his chest. Vibrations ran through his arms like a finger ran wrist to collarbone, drifting across chest and caressing visage. Pumping wildly, the floor jumped in time to the sounds, synthesizers matching the movements of bodies that filled the space like a sea. He felt them. Wild arms raised in the air, rocking hips and gyrating bodies. Sweat muggily grabbed skin in the humid hall, air too full to evaporate into. Droplets crawled along a girl's skin, tickling brow and neck before dissolving down back and body. He nodded to the music, hands tapping rhythm into his thighs as the song blasted on. The floor swelled and ebbed, and he rode the convulsions like a wave, never losing balance as he, and by extension everyone else, rocked to the sounds. Swelling, the music charged into a buildup, snares cascading in waves as pitches screamed higher and higher. A chorus of cymbals rang out, and a grip abruptly yanked him off balance. 3 girls caught themselves off balance as an unrelated man fell into a copse of partiers. A red solo cup splattered on the ground somewhere, and a very unimpressed "Hey!" rang out as 2 dudes collided. Catching his balance, he looked to the offending party fouler as people got back into the groove, their dance steps slowed but still hammering through his ankles. "What was that for, Slights?" Slights maintained the grip on his shoulder, eyes staring at instead of through, like so many of the attendees. "Second to the right, Pete." Slights didn't shift his gaze. "New girl." Pete followed the look. There, at the back, her eyes were darting around, not in fear, but searching. He slid through the crowd, gliding through circles of dancers nonchalantly. Never touching a one, the crowd shifted to let him pass. Seemingly unrelated movements occurred all at once to form a pocket around the man. He moved through it until the bubble parted in front of the girl. Her eyes went wide as the crowd opened in front of her. Gotta love the theatrics. He smirked as the girl locked eyes and strode into his space. She slid a hand down his arm until her fingers landed between his. She rested her body weight into him with a full body lean. "Only one rule," he shouted over the music. "Have fun." He produced a little baggie from his unoccupied arm. The girl grabbed for it as he pulled back. She pouted. "I thought you said one rule," mouth turning down into an exaggerated frown. Gotta give you the rundown, though, he instructed. Stuff wears off at first light. Until then, you're tied to everyone here. Until then, you're tied to everyone here. Every move, step, breath. He closed his eyes as he felt everyone's dance thrum through his body. He stared into her. You'll lose yourself till morning. We got designated vests keeping an eye out. She grabbed again. You'll lose yourself till morning. When she didn't ease up, he relented. She palmed the bag and melted into the crowd.
All right. This is a really great story that really encapsulates the feeling of being at a party like this. And I love how much time is being spent on like what part of the music is sort of correlating to what part of the body, really taking this, typical concert scene and making it a bit more spiritual, a bit more clandestine, really putting a lot of importance into this one night. And I like the bits that we get with these characters of the girl and the drug dealer, and how the drug dealer is selling this drug. There's a caveat; it'll last apparently a while, because if it's till sunup, and this is probably like what 9 there, so that's like a 5-6 hour high, which is crazy. But yeah, I just like really loved the scene that's being painted here, and how a lot of time has been taken to really focus on the prose, on the syntactical level. So overall, like, really great job, and I definitely look forward to seeing what else you bring to the table in the future.
Yeah, this is a very interesting piece. Definitely, I think one of the main things going on here is this experimentation with sensory description. We start off just with that music, and really translating the music into very physical sensations. I really love that metaphor that we almost open up with of vibrations ran through his arms like a finger ran wrist to collarbone, drifting across chest and caressing visage. Like, that is, that's good. Just because that's not, exactly. It's not just the physical description of like, it's, moving through your body, but the fact that it is like, caressing, that it is soft, but also like extremely intimate. So another moment I like, I think just because I really like, I don't know, the sensation, or maybe just imagining the sensation, but the part of droplets crawled along a girl's skin, tickling brow and neck before dissolving down back and body. It's just like that. Well, okay.
Well, no, it's definitely hot and sweaty at that concert. Great description, though. Go ahead.
Yeah. It was just the, like, I don't know, the specificity of it, the fact that like we're in this giant party, this wild thing, but we are focusing on this tiny bit of feeling. I think it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me within this piece, the one thing that, or I guess like a couple things that I was looking for that was almost really hit on was definitely I personally would have liked to know a bit more about the music itself, so that I can also get a good description of what these people look like. Certain people tend to go to. So
you want to know what the music is, so you can make assumptions about who's listening to it.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Which, I mean, or at least, just those few added paint strokes can really make the picture for me. You know, like if this was a punk show, then yeah, I would definitely look. I would definitely see Pete and this girl and Slights.
Yeah.
Slights. Great,
Like sleight
great
of
name.
hand. I should clarify.
Yeah. Because he seems a little bit sneaky, right? But definitely just like that small addition would have definitely not only grounded it for me, but also filled out this scene a bit more. But yeah, overall, I really do like how this piece, as you said, on a prose level, really great, but how it sort of focuses on the abstract and looks at this party from a wider lens as we slowly sort of hone in on our main character. But yeah, like really, really great stuff.
What's interesting,
I love
your point about what the music is, so you can picture the people. It could go the other direction too, right? Describing the people would imply
what do the people look like?
Yeah. If you talk about rocker shirts, or if you talk about rave, fishnets and glow sticks, then it's very different vibes.
Yeah, and really, I think like the only reason why, like, I sort of I'm sort of hung up on this is because the attire at a lot of shows is important, like metal, punk, emo, all of these sort of like darker genres of rock music are heavily influenced by the aesthetic itself.
Sure.
Especially when it comes to the listeners and the bands itself. So I don't know, and also just giving us a bit more of a description of what kind of people are here would just be nice. And it would definitely round out the scene. And there are moments where that was almost there. Like when there is that description of the sweat on this girl, how it's going from her from her brow down her back, and then dissipating into the air. Like that is a clear picture of one person at this party. But how are they moving? Are they really grooving, or are they just sweaty because everyone else is hot?
I don't know.
So I don't know.
I think there's definitely an implication that they're moving and grooving, and we've got stuff like gyrating bodies. We have wild arms raised in the air, rocking hips, a couple other things.
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking for that specificity.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. I was picturing a Denton House show. That's my frame of reference.
A Denton House show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's loud.
It's loud, it's sweaty.
Oh yeah.
There aren't as many drugs though.
Yeah, that's true. And certainly no drugs.
Which is a really weird.
What is weird?
Yeah, no, it's just a really weird development when it comes to like Denton House shows, to where like there are people smoking weed, but rarely have I ever ran into someone selling drugs.
So are you? Is that something you're lamenting, or you're like, I really wish there was more drugs at Denton House shows? I mean, that's fine. Maybe that is a good position to take. Maybe run for city council. Be like, I demand to bring back drug dealers to Denton House shows.
More drugs and more parties.
Exactly.
I mean, granted, like, it is a college town. It's a house show filled with college people. You would think there would be some crazy stuff there. Like I don't think I've ever really seen coke at a house show.
Wild.
Yeah, and I've never seen a pilly at a Denton House show.
A pilly?
But a pilly. Any form of pill.
I don't know. That's just so generic. Do you mean E?
Well, yeah. There's E. There's Molly. There's you got you a little bit of MDMA. You got you a little bit of speed. Just general pillies. I didn't see a single pill there. Which sucks, because growing up, I thought that every party / house show had a bowl of pills at the entrance
for you to like on
just
Halloween
pick out two.
Yeah, that's where the confusion.
Wait, what?
Is. like Halloween, where they say that it's, they're giving drugs to children, but no, they're just getting confused because at these parties you walk in and there's a bowl of pills like candy. Take only
like
one.
Candy.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I say all that to say that your story definitely did capture the it's hard to explain the feeling, but you were able to really capture the feeling of being at a party and just sort of living for that night. The hype, the energy, and the adrenaline was perfectly captured within your prose. Just for me, definitely taking that and putting it on the more personal level would have been a great move for this story, and something that they might end up doing later on in the future with this idea.
Well, I would also say that I think part of it is the like losing himself in the music.
Yes.
The thing that the drug is doing. Okay, question. Something that I was not entirely sure. So, I did get the feeling that actually he was like not just feeling everyone, but also kind of controlling everyone a bit. Which I wasn't sure about because I was like, that's kind of overpowered for like a random drug. No, the main character.
Oh, okay. They were controlling everyone through the drug.
A little bit, yeah. Or at least influencing them to move slightly differently. Because it's not just that, like, he walks and, just, like, walks through everyone perfectly because he knows how they're moving. It's not just that. It's, like, they're parting ways around him. Like, unintentionally,
true.
too. It's, like, not, like, obviously, which was interesting. So, yeah, I was trying to puzzle that out.
Interesting. You know what? That is something that I didn't pick up on, but as I'm like reading through it right now, I can see that reading of excuse me, of that maybe it could be through the drug somehow because I did find the moment when the dealer said like when you take this, you are no longer you're one of everyone else. It won't end until morning comes. A bit ominous, but
yeah, it's definitely like a warning.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like why the no warning.
Yeah, true. No, but that's a really interesting reading. And definitely, yeah, I might end up reading this for a second and third time to see if there's any value in that. Well, I guess not value. I was looking for
I was like, I think the story's valuable. From
no.
reading,
This story is very valuable. I was talking about the reading of the main character having some sort of sway in how the party goes. But yeah, I will definitely be reading this one again. So thank you very much to Morgan Laade. Thank you.
Oh, actually, now that I just on that, I think I might have put it together. See, I thought that she was getting the drug so she could have the same kind of like control and like be with everyone kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But maybe actually like she just wants to be one of the other people that's like in like under the sway of this drug. Like everyone here is on this drug.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I was just picturing just the dealer was. Although, actually, now thinking more about it, maybe that means that the dealer was not actually in control at all, but just like, everyone being like some sort of telepathically connected and just
trance,
like him included, and him just like communicating, I need to walk over there, and everyone else, sort of accommodating that on like consensually.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, maybe. Wow, this is turning into a completely different story with this reading. But yeah, maybe they're all connected through the hive mind of the jam. Actually, what if the person controlling or the people controlling all of these partiers is the band? playing this
Yeah, they
music
kind of
that
are. Yeah. I see what you mean.
yeah, because the music itself is like very personal and involved, almost like it's personified, almost like the music is living itself. Interesting.
Last thing, so this all reminds me of like a world building project that I read once, which was like a series of PSAs on a drug called Camel, and you would take it, when you take it with other people, you form a caravan, as it was called on the street, where you're all like, yeah, you have linked minds, and you, the more that you take, the like closer you are linked. Then they would do, if you form a Mansa Musa, which is like also another term for like a gigantic caravan. It's like it's kind of risky. And like the PSAs were basically, watch out taking this drug because you could just become like permanently linked to the other people that you're doing the drug with. I don't know. I just really love the terms, the camel, caravan, Mansa Musa. I love it.
Mansa Musa, yeah. And especially with this like world building exercise of like having to make these PSAs, that's a really interesting concept. Where'd you hear about this?
The world building subreddit, actually.
Okay. Oh no, not Reddit.
Hey, they got good communities there. I mean, I will be honest. The only thing that gets any traction on that subreddit is just like images. So if you don't do images, then yeah. But I think I love the PSAs the most, actually, that people make for their fiction, whatever. Yeah.
Cool. Well, all right. I think it's high time to roll into our listener submitted story section. So, thank you very much to Calinero985, Walker by Faith, Jarby Jazz, and Flower Priest for submitting your story. So, the first story we will be talking about this week is by Calinero985 with Arrival Time.
Yeah, definitely. I think the next story I would have chosen to read this week. There's this character, Aaron, and he's on a plane sort of reminiscing about the saying in Alcoholics Anonymous, basically saying that people don't change, like, just depending on where they are. You put an asshole on a plane in New York, an asshole gets off the plane in Boston just with a drink in him. And so he's been drinking a little bit on this flight, and we don't really know why at first. And then we realize, or we're told, that it's because until he lands, he's in this moment where being disconnected from the world, that his dad is not actually passed away. So he's sort of letting himself sort of be in denial for these next like 2 or 3 hours or so. And it's a really interesting portrayal of this character's sort of grief, and it's like a denial, but not really. It's a very intentional denial. And you can tell that it's not really working, but also maybe that the character does need this, needs to have this space to 2 hours and 22 minutes where his father has not passed away, where he doesn't have to worry about funeral arrangements and things like that. I really love the ending line, just to finish. It was funny. You could take an asshole or a drunk or a grieving man and put him on a plane, and he'd still be the same when he stepped off. It was a world that changed, whether you liked it or not.
Yeah, really, really strong last line. And overall, I think that this is a really strong piece, short of showing how in these moments where we are grieving, we do tend to gravitate towards vices. I think that, I guess that's the message or the like overall theme here. But I really do love how this main character seems so stuck, seems reluctant to think about anything beyond this plane, beyond the next drink he will get, beyond the next really tiny bottle of really bombshell wine he will get.
Red or white in the plastic cups. Yeah,
red or white. Yeah. But like I just really love it how much time we really get to spend in this main character's head. I know you said how like the reason as to why they are here is sort of just told to us and not shown. But I think
I
that
don't know.
that was done to.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't say that in a bad way.
I mean, no, yeah, and it's not in a bad way. I mean, I think it's done to pretty decent effect because we are focusing on this one moment and we're staying in this one scene. So stepping out of that, I feel, would have definitely disrupted the flow of this piece.
Yeah, like
overall.
showing his
So,
father, like dying, like
basically.
I don't think that would be
or just like doing a flashback to when he got the first call saying your father's dead, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like how we stay in this one place. I do like all of the little details about where he's going, where he's staying, all this, and it just feels that we get a really great sense of who Aaron is in this moment, not who he's going to be later or who he was. We solely focused on the grieving man Aaron, which I really did enjoy overall.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of great reflection on loss here. Next story?
Mm-hmm. Next story is by Walker by Faith with The Crutch 7? Yes.
So here we finally have that talk between Carl and Sarah after Sarah has realized that she has to tell him that her son Polly is not his biological son and that she's been hiding it this whole time, and that she feels like she has to leave him. So we're in Carl's perspective, and they start talking, and then they go to the backyard and they have this very, very hard conversation with there's a lot of build up to it until Sarah finally starts like confessing, and so she ends up admitting that Paul was Polly's father, and says that you're not the father, but Carl's like no, that's I have been this kid's father this whole time, so that does not change. And they sort of have this argument, and and it's clear that Sarah is just like really, really emotionally distraught, and sort of it seems to have like a sort of like confused anger a little bit, and she wants to run away. And Carl is sort of just interpreting all of this, and I think getting a little angry. He's getting angry back because it's something he didn't do wrong, and he feels that he's being like he has to comfort her for something that she did wrong. But at the end, he goes to be with his son and says, when you decide to stop playing the victim, we'll be inside making dinner. We can talk more later, but without the waterworks. Or you can leave. That's your choice. But Polly's staying with me. He's my son. And lastly is that he realizes that Sarah's only coming out with all of this, not because she just like feels that this is now the time to tell him, but because she got caught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, this is a really strong scene. I think Carl took it better than I thought he would. I was afraid of violence, but it turns out that Carl was very practical about it. I mean, I think there was a line where he said that he always kind of knew, and he was more angry at the fact that she waited so long to tell him, versus what she actually said to him, which I think is a really strong moment that sort of put how Carl is feeling into a different perspective. And I do like how Carl is just like, all right, well, I'm still his father, I like always have been his father, and he's sort of stepping up to the plate of like still being there, especially during this sort of trying time. And yeah, there was a lot of tension, there was a lot of emotion here from both of them, And I think it definitely ended in this very bitter place, to where I was almost hoping as I read it that they would treat this as not too big of a deal, but of course, if we're being realistic, it is a huge deal, especially for both of them. The lies that she was telling and the lies he was being told.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, overall, this is the crescendo to this story that I was definitely looking for. I think it sort of ends in a place to where, like as I said, Carl is stepping up to the plate for Polly, but he also has a sort of sense of disdain for Sarah, because she is obviously not taking this moment too well.
Yeah, yeah. I will say it did seem that like Carl was maybe being a little too harsh. I don't know, or maybe not too harsh, but just he's angry.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna say too harsh. That's wrong. But he's just.
I think
angry.
his anger is definitely valid. It's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
valid.
It's just I feel that like I don't know. I think there's like a sort of an implication that he's like emotionless and like not also being affected by his emotions and stuff, because I mean you don't say stop with when you're stop crying basically if you're not like emotionally I don't know affected by your own emotions.
We'll see. That's the thing, though. I read this as that Carl is emotionally wrecked. He is emotionally destroyed. So his brain goes to the default. He's definitely angry at her, and he's angry that she, in some sense, is sort of he's reading it as that she is crying because of him, because of what she did, but he's feeling that the blame is still being put on him within this moment, and he's still like angry at her. But just because he, of course, says some pretty harsh things, which again, you have your own opinion. I'm not one to say harsh things, but I can completely understand him in this moment saying why are you crying, right? Why are you crying when you're the one that fucked up here, you know?
Yeah.
So I would not say that Carl is emotionless. I would say that he's actually filled with emotion, and that his emotions are in the sort of like tornado. He just doesn't seem like the kind of person to portray that, maybe.
Sure, yeah.
Physically.
Yeah.
At least that's
I'm
how
also
I
just
saw it.
influenced by like how I approach arguments, which is just different and much more, it's like always conciliatory. So maybe that's more of a me thing than, yeah.
Because I mean, granted, yeah, if I heard that I've been raising this kid, right, for 5 years, this is my son, even though I did have that sneaking suspicion, and then wifey comes up to me and says, "Hey, it's not your son," I would definitely be angry. I feel that the last thing I would want to do is console the other person about lying to me for 5 years.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. I'm gonna admit that.
Yeah, but that's just me. But again, this is a really great piece. This is definitely the climax that I was really hoping that it would be a couple of entries back, and I'm kind of excited to see where it goes from here. I mean, I think
Or
that there
what
is
Walker by Faith does next. Either way, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever Walker by Faith does next. If you do choose to continue the crutch, I can definitely see their relationship either falling apart, or maybe the possibility of them coming back together. But also, you're always free to hop on to other projects and show us what else you have in the storehouse.
If there is going to be another entry, I think there's definitely. We'd love when things come full circle. So I don't know, maybe something with the metaphor about the crutch and something with that, or with alcoholism. I don't know. One thing I did want to say is that I felt, especially in the beginning, that I could use just a little bit more physical description of like environment, or like because we transitioned from being inside the house to being outside with a senses of dialogue of saying like here we are outside rather than like
Yeah.
yeah, which I mean I understand that like transitions are always awkward, so I get it. But yeah, I think just describing them, walking outside or just describing what being outside is like, what is it like in the backyard on the back porch, would tell us that we are there now rather than having to say it.
Yeah, definitely. But all right. Thank you to Walker by Faith. And up next is by Jarvi Jazz with Nutsack Noir 1.
Great title.
Very
Yeah, so this is a noir story. We get some really, really cool world building about this place called Nutsack Bay, which definitely an interesting title.
Yep, definitely interesting.
But it's part of this archipelago where it's mainly dominated by this place called Capitalism Island, which is a little on the nose as well, but it's it's all the noir stuff. They're talking about corruption and the extreme difference between rich and poor and stuff. So we have this noir detective going to Joel and Joel's on this one smaller island. What's it called? The island, Boy Island. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he meets up with this person, and he gets a case, right? And what's interesting is that it's a case of corruption that points to that Capitalism Island is built upon a place that should have been an environmentally protected zone. You're finding out that like the person who signed off on it being approved, someone who was a environmental activist, like disappeared. And while they were disappeared, their signature showed up on the approval. And the whole time we have wonderful like noir vibes in the narrative, in narration, and in how the character speaks. It's a wonderful noir piece that's a little bit. You were saying it was satirical when we read it before. Or maybe satirical is what you're saying.
Maybe satirical. Really, that's just up to the naming conventions, really. But yeah, I mean, overall, I really love this one. I mean, of course, I love anything noir, and this definitely has all the proper elements in place, and I like how we're getting a nice sense of like the people, and the city, and then we sort of roll on into what this case is on Nutsack Bay. But yeah, like overall, I think that this is a really solid piece. It is entertaining, but yeah, definitely just in my first reading due to the names and just like other things, I was sort of thinking maybe it was a satire on maybe the naming of a lot of places within noir stories, because typically they are very on the nose. But yeah, overall, I had a really good time reading this one.
Yeah, I definitely got some. It definitely felt the Capitalism Island definitely felt on the nose. It's just like yeah, we're just gonna call it what it is, Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. But all right, our last story for this week is by Flower Priest with Children's Pantheon, which is apparently based off of the HBO show Euphoria.
I've been really meaning to watch that. I need to just find someone to watch it with, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good if you like YA dark drug filled shows.
Okay, actually, you know what? Is this like the new generation Skins UK?
Ooh, okay. You know what?
Oh my god. Similar.
The only thing,
lose it.
Yeah, well, because Skins is an amazing show, King's show, Crown show. The only difference is that this show is a lot slower than Skins. Focuses a lot more on addiction and drug use, and then it quickly sort of delves into like typical modern YA drama.
Sure.
But with like a harsher edge to it, But it's good. It's good.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just funny. Just like all the like, I don't know, alt people when I was in high school would show me Skins, which I'd never.
They would show you Skins.
Yeah, because like, I mean, okay, look, one of the first episodes is just like very much dealing with like eating disorders.
Yes.
And that show's great. I'm sure it's great in a wonderful, like a bunch of other ways, but it's definitely like that episode. Definitely, I know with some people were just like, oh, so it's fine and cool for me to just like, yeah, like have my eating disorder and just kind of, I don't know, like.
You see, those are people that didn't finish the series.
Yeah, well, no, like not that like it was portrayed as like a good thing, but it was like a cool show and a cool character, and like showing some of her like techniques basically and stuff. And
yeah,
not that like it caused eating disorders, but just like I think it
but
maybe didn't help
people
sometimes.
that maybe had it. It didn't help them.
Yeah,
in that way.
It probably did for a lot of people, but also I think some people didn't. Anyway, I don't know. Point is, I'm getting similar vibes of just like, in a show about like alt teens, basically.
Yes. But yeah.
But okay.
So,
that's the stories that we have. Oh, sorry. Oh my God. Yeah, we didn't actually talk about the story. Sorry.
Yeah.
I got distracted.
Didn't even talk about it.
I feel very silly. Okay, so Flower Priest talks about in the comment how so this is a poem, and just to summarize how Flower Priest says it, they were feeling inspired after watching Euphoria's premiere and wrote a tone poem describing each character as a god and their spheres of action. It makes more sense if you watch the show and read the Wicked and the Divine comic book, which we covered on the Doofcast. Really, really great comic series, which I haven't read, but that did not affect my reading in a negative way. I still... it felt like this stuff I think is definitely readable without that context at all. But we run through each character in the same repeating pattern, saying we name them, we say something that they are, we say like a feeling that they are, we say a thing that they do, say what they bring, and what their signature is. So it starts off with Rue is the joy of failing before trying, a child falling into the underworld, laughing as she descends. She brings madness. Her signature is written in shadows. Whereas a little bit later, Cassie is the dance you keep up because you don't want the party to end. A huntress in winter without a prey. She'll help you run away. Her signature is in ice blue. And so on. And I really, really like the repeating pattern. I like the rhyme where it appeared. I felt like I understood all these characters a bit more. And even without knowing the characters, like I still, I don't know, very much like enjoyed having these feelings packaged together,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, definitely after watching some of Euphoria, I guess I do have a certain amount of knowledge going into it. And I think that not only are a lot of these characters pretty nicely captured, there's also a great flow to this poem, and it carries a very similar tone throughout, to where almost this could be a song, really. In some senses, if you put it to a certain tune. But yeah, overall, I just really love the flow in this. I love the attention to word choice here. Like there's madness, shadows, and endless, throne, just corruption, just really strong words that are very invocative of these characters, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think overall this is a really solid poem, and I'm glad that you decided to send it to us this week, Flower Priest.
Yeah, like I said, I really like the just packaging of these feelings together. Like, I don't know who Maddie is, right? But having the acceptance that love always equals pain, tied with a rose despoiled with blood, still beautiful. She understands the martyrs. Her signature is essential pink. So, yeah, having those ideas packaged together, I think is definitely, it's interesting. It's like, what are these associations? What do they mean? And I felt like, throughout them, tying, like, again, with Cassie, like, the dance you keep up because you don't want the party to end, tying that with helping you run away. I think it's really interesting, and it makes a lot of sense. I think it reveals something about those concepts.
Yeah, definitely. We're all right. I think it's high time to say thank you to everyone who did submit a story this week. So, thank you very much to Morgan LaA.
Thank you to Kellanero985.
Thank you to Walker by Faith.
Thank you to Jarby Jazz.
And thank you to Flower Priest. And we would also like to say thank you to everyone who left comments. Leaving comments not only under your own story, but under someone else's story can condense all of your ideas on your own story for others to see. But you are also providing someone else with feedback, which can only improve them and you as a writer. So, thank you very much to Walker by Faith, Jarby Jazz, and Flower Priest. Thank you so much for leaving comments.
Yeah, it's a wonderful discussion down there.
If you want to be like all of these wonderful writers and submit your story to Do the Right Thing, you can do that by going to Reddit at /r/Do the Right Thing. All you have to do is sit down for 30 minutes and write a complete short story using 3 or 4 randomly generated words.
That's right. Every time now, I'm getting just like an urge to myself to just start jumping into the intro.
Come on a podcast.
Yeah. If you want to see the words as soon as they come out, the best place to do that would be to follow us on Twitter at Right Thing Cast. You can get the notifications whenever there is something going on with the podcast in general, and also you can interact with us there. And if you want to ask us questions there or something like that, you totally, absolutely can. And of course, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
And if you want to support us and everything else happening in Doof Media, you can do that by donating to the Doof Media Patreon. All you have to do is sit down and donate $10 or more per month.
Nice save.
Yeah. And you'll be able to get access to exclusive bonus content through donating $10 or more per month, which includes the latest episode of Doof Over, which we still need to schedule.
I want to actually plug the $20 level because we haven't actually done it in a while, which lets you join the Council of Doof and sponsor an episode of the Doofcast. Basically, the Council of Doof is just a group of our patrons that gets together and helps decide one Doofcast episode per month. So we've gotten some really great selections because of that. And also you can vote. I think you can vote without being a patron, but vote on whether a movie deserves to join the Doof Pantheon or canon. I guess both of those things. The Doof canon of like the best movies. We've had a really great list, and I really have enjoyed checking those out. A lot of things that I wouldn't have checked out otherwise. If you want to, there's always so much else going on here at Doof Media. If you haven't checked out the show, What You Say, again, I always recommend it because it's such a wonderful delight listening to Scott and Elise. So it's just a nice show. A married couple talking about what's going on with them, and talking about a drama show. It's enjoyable. It's a pick me up. It's good.
Nice. Well, all right. I think it's high time to roll into next week's words. The words for next week are apology, cook, wait, and mushroom.
Mushroom?
Mushroom.
Fun. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I like that. So keeping in mind that the theme for the month of January is paradigm shift, so like a big change in the story. But
Yes.
an apology, which is when you say sorry to someone, is when you ask for forgiveness and admit that what you did was wrong, that harmed someone else or otherwise was negative. Any other implications for apology?
No, I think that's the only one that I've ever heard.
The next one, cook, which is both a noun and a verb. It is to prepare ingredients to make them edible, to make them into food. There's always people fighting over whether putting something in the microwave counts as cooking. In my opinion,
I don't think it
anytime,
does.
whenever there's a state change, I think that's cooking.
Yes, a
If you're just
change
warming
of
it up,
state.
yeah. If you put something in the oven to warm it up, that's not cooking. If you do it to like
No.
bake it, to change it, that's cooking.
That's cooking. Yeah.
Now we're cooking. It's a thing you can say also.
Yeah, you can also cook more things than just food. Normally,
Meth.
when someone says that they could be cooking meth, they could be cooking up a a piece of literature. You know, cooking is just
Preparing.
something that goes through a state change. Typically, it deals with food, but it could deal with a whole host of things.
Yes, and you can be a cook whose job it is to cook. You can also cook a grenade, which is when you hold a grenade in your hand
Ooh,
and you
yes,
let
cook it.
it count down, and then you throw it. I only remember.
Yeah.
I hope no one. I feel like doing that in real life is a terrible idea, but
Probably terrifying.
yeah, Jesus. I don't think I could do that for more than like half a second. But it matters in Call
honestly,
of Duty.
I would.
So.
Yeah, I see it a lot in COD. Honestly, I would have to know exactly like how long the fuse is, and like I would not get any more than like halfway there. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Next word is wait, which means to stop and halt. Typically for someone else, you will wait on someone. You might be waiting in a line, which is to stop and halt in a line. And also there people might wait on you, which can be that they're waiting for you to get there, or they're a waiter at your table.
Exactly. I think that's a really great. Yeah, I've got some clear connections here. With the last one being mushroom, which is a kind of fungi.
Delicious fungus.
Yes, which is the what are they called? It's not animal kingdom. It's domain, right? Yeah, it's a domain of life that feasts upon other dead things, basically.
Bile. Yes.
Yeah. One thing I always thought was interesting, and probably everyone listening to this knows this, but that the mushroom, the thing that we look at and see as a mushroom, is actually just like the fruit. And the actual mushroom is literally just the mycelium, the stuff inside of the thing that the roots basically. And by fruit, I mean it's like the thing that spreads the seed. It's not really made to be eaten. I don't think
it's the part that we eat.
Yeah, but it's it's just made to carry out spores. That is why mushrooms have mushrooms.
Yeah. And they are delicious when cooked and sautéed. So, tell me, what is your amazing 30-second story?
So there at a restaurant, someone came out to the people eating and said, we apologize. Here is an apology you can say apologize rather than apology. We apologize for the wait. But the cook ate a bad mushroom, and now he just became gigantic and he broke through the ceiling. And so we're dealing with that right now, and that's why we can't bring your food. It's because he got a 1-up, and he's just really big, and you can't reach the ladle, and so you can't have your soup. Sorry.
Wow.
And then the patrons leave the restaurant, and the patrons, Bowser.
Whoa. Okay. So all of the patrons were Bowser.
Yeah, it was an Italian restaurant. Also, I just want to.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it was like Mario's restaurant.
Yes,
He ate
exactly.
a super shroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my story is going to follow the cult superhero Mushroom Man, whose power is that he can build like fungus on any surface. So he walks around downtown in his mushroom armor made entirely from mushroom. And he basically doesn't really have any like power besides being able to really grow fungus. So he mostly just like picks up trash in the park.
That's nice.
And then he will maybe like walk into certain shops and be like, "Hey, do y'all need any mushrooms? I can sell you locally grown mushrooms for you to cook with." So yeah, pretty much he's just out there grinding. He is also a waiter because being a superhero doesn't really pay any money.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, Peter Parker delivers pizzas, so
exactly, yeah, and he is great at it too. But the issue is that after being close to him for too long, you will start growing mushrooms on you. So he always has to apologize, which hurts how much in tips he gets at the end of his shift.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm just glad that he does the right thing and says he's sorry.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
Mushroom
good.
Man away.
I really need to play the Spider-Man game again on the PlayStation. I really, really need to.
You really